and it pops a lot, right? So I think the modern consumer, the Gen Z consumers are starting to use both TikTok and Instagram Reels to identify what they want. And they also validate with Google from a rating and review perspective to go through it, right? So before these customers become regular customers, it's important to
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Local Marketing Lab, where you get real-world insights from industry pros to help you drive local revenue and local growth. This podcast is brought to you by Evocalize, digital marketing tools powered by local data that automatically work where and when your locations need it most. Learn more at evocalize.com. What's up, and welcome to the Local Marketing Lab. Joining us in the lab today is a guest with over a decade in the restaurant tech space. He's a huge Patriots fan. He ran the Chicago Marathon and has traveled over 35 countries in the world, including the United States. Co-founder and CEO of Momos, Sai Alluri. Welcome to the lab, my friend.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here today.
I'm excited to have you. You know, we've done our fair share of hanging out at the shows, and you guys have an awesome product. So I figured it might be good to bring you on and talk to the product a little bit and how it helps folks from a local marketing standpoint. But I guess before we jump into that, why don't we get started with a little bit around your background and, you know, where you got to where you are as the co-founder of Momos.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks, Justin. So a little bit about me. I grew up in the East Coast in Connecticut, hence why I'm a big diehard Patriots fan. Did my engineering and started working in tech pretty early on in my career out at Uber. So I started working in San Francisco on their ride-sharing business, and then moved with Uber to Asia, where I helped build out their Uber Eats business and expand food delivery back in 2017 all over Asia Pacific. And then I joined this other super app startup company in Southeast Asia called Grab, where I helped build out their food delivery business, and then also Cloud Kitchen. So I've spent almost close to 8 or 9 years in the food industry, starting with food delivery, cloud kitchens, and working with virtual brands. And then during COVID, I was actually quarantined stuck in Singapore. And that's when we had the idea for Momos, where we saw a lot of our favorite restaurants and customers struggling to go online, both just in terms of like turning on delivery, but then also using marketing, local marketing, whatever it takes to drive traffic to their online businesses. So when we looked around in Singapore and we were trying to find softwares to support them, there wasn't something that did all of it in one place. And my co-founder and my founding team are all American. We happen to be living in Singapore when we had the idea. So we left Grab, started the company back in 2021. And then I moved back to the US a few years ago to help with expansion here. But now we're global. We're in 10 countries. We work with over 5,000 restaurants. And to kind of the merit of this podcast and what we're talking here, Justin, like marketing and everything with relationship to like digital presence, finding yourself online from Google, Yelp, Facebook, social media platforms. It's how all the discovery is happening now, and it's where a lot of the conversion happens. So excited to kind of talk through all of that today.
Yeah, no, that I'm excited to have the conversation as well. I guess in addition to like online reputation management, what are the kind of the pillars of what Momos does? You focus on that as well as what other things?
Yeah, so we've built an all-in-one platform here at Momos. We do everything from reputation, review management. We do customer experience through surveys. We do customer service. So everything from support tickets, guest tickets that come in. And then finally, we do marketing in the form of CDP, SMS, email marketing, all in one place. And the reason we build all of these into a single solution instead of trying to have them be separate is they all talk to each other and they all integrate well with each other, right? So if you're trying to do marketing, and we tend to focus a lot on retention marketing, which is for your existing guests and your existing customers that you're trying to keep bringing back. And when you're trying to re-engage your customers, it really matters to understand what they're feeling and what their experience is like at the restaurant, right? Like have a good experience, or your loyal customers continuing to rate you well? Are they looking to keep coming back? And if they are, then you can start running campaigns and marketing campaigns to keep engaging them and keep personalizing everything that you do. So instead of keeping it separate or separate solutions, we've combined all of it and everything works well together. Where as a restaurant operator, you can understand how all your customer experience is performing. And then we also
Mm-hmm.
connect with your POS and loyalty systems. If you're trying to re-engage them and bring them back, you could do that all in the same system as well.
Very cool. Yeah, we talk quite often on this show about, ensuring that the experience within the four walls is up to snuff. If you have a crummy experience or the food isn't great or maybe your staff isn't interacting well with your customers or your guests, like all those things kind of ladder up to kind of a crummy experience. And then from there, folks who typically have the worst experience are going to be the ones that go leave reviews typically. And now you got a bunch of negative reviews and you got to combat those things. And it kind of creates this downward spiral. But if you're able to get, everything up to spec within your four walls, then you're driving people to a good experience. You're amplifying that good experience through their reviews and online engagements. And then you're able to throw marketing dollars against things and through ads and other means to drive people to your restaurant or your location if you're not a restaurant. So you're able to then get more from your marketing dollars, make sure you don't have a leaky bucket. You're not just wasting money and you're driving folks to a good experience, which is going to create this flywheel and keep people just coming back more and more often.
Exactly. No, I couldn't have said that better, Josh. And it's like, you want to make
Probably
sure.
could have.
No, I
You
think you
probably
said
could have.
Please, I think in terms of before you spend marketing dollars or investing in campaigns, it could be just creative campaigns or marketing dollars. You want to make sure the current experience is as optimal as possible, like you said, right? So you want to make sure your guests are happy. They're able to have an enjoyable experience, everything from the food to the quality of experience. And then after that, then you can get creative and start running either investing dollars or also starting to run new creative ideas like item drops or anything else that you're trying to do. So that's where we start with. It's like, how do you make sure that you have all the information you need to look at opportunities to improve? And then once you do that, Google, for example, like talking about local marketing is extremely important from a search perspective, right? When people are going in and trying to find pizza near you or ice cream near you, you're going to Google Maps, turn on the filter that says, show me the top rated restaurants. And Google basically ranks it based on the number of reviews and the rating that you have. So one, it's important to make sure that more and more of your customers are giving you those ratings so you show up there. And then it's also to reduce the incidence. So as your people are trying to discover you, you're actually showing up higher and higher. And that's one type of marketing that we think about. It's like, how do you ensure that you show up as high on Google as possible by maintaining the best level of reputation with your ratings and reviews that come through?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes total sense. If you think of the customer journey, and if we were to put it in marketing terms, you want to guide folks through this journey of awareness to consideration to decision. And Google search is a really good job, especially with the map functionality of doing this. And if you look at all the different pieces of information they give you about a restaurant, a gym, it could be a massage place, whatever it might be, they're going to give you like where it's located. Okay, it's near me. Great. Now, what do others think about it? Oh, it has good reputation. Lots like high star marks. How many folks have been there? What are people actually saying? You could drill into it. How much does it cost, right? And as you kind of go down, they order these things from top to bottom to help guide people down this funnel to making the decision. Because all of these things are what we would call in the marketing world, like consideration set pieces of information. And then ultimately they make a decision, and that decision could come in the form of like an offer or something like that. Or it could just be very well to click the button to get directions to come into your place of business. But focusing there seems to be, well, I guess if you're focusing within your four walls, you're helping to boost the information that's put out in that journey, right? In that stage. So when people are most high intent and they're actually looking for a place near them to do X, Y, Z, you're going to be the one that shows up based on all that information that you're able to pull from your guests.
Exactly, right. It's like, if you look at the main channels that you think about consumers finding you a restaurant or a location business, one is obviously Google, Yelp, and then it's social media,
Mm,
everything TikTok and Instagram. Like food, for example, one of the best ways to discover it are through Instagram posts or reels or TikTok videos. And food itself is so much more emotive in terms of what you can experience, and videos just stand
hmm
out a lot. And I've gone through doom scrolls on reels on TikTok with just food videos from influencers just showcasing it, and it pops a lot, right? So I think the modern consumer, the Gen Z consumers, are starting to use both TikTok and Instagram Reels to identify what they want, and they also validate with Google from a rating and review perspective to go through it, right? So before these customers become regular customers, it's important to make sure that discovery platforms, you're online, you're available, and then you're highly reputable on those platforms, and then everything
hmm
else can go into more retention or re-engagement marketing afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. I had a funny conversation with Maya from Science on Call at one of the recent events. And I think it was actually at the last event where we hung out, but we were talking, I was telling her about Facebook. I'm like, I'm not really on Facebook in my personal life. Like I do a lot of the social stuff for work because that's just, I'm a marketer, right? Those are the
Yeah.
channels that make sense to market across. But in my personal time, I'm like, it just sucks me right in. And I just get like, I'm addicted to Facebook and scrolling. She's like, I'm just going to stop you right there. You're not unique. Like
Yeah.
these platforms are designed to be that way, right? They're designed to get you to doom scroll like you're talking about. But if you're, a business, you could take advantage of that very well if you're able to generate, organic content that resonates really well with your audience. So part of it is capturing the data, like we talk about with a tool like yours to learn more about your audience. And then if you create the content to be able to serve up to those folks on the channels that they're going to be on. So certain demographics may use Facebook. Others, maybe a younger demographic may be more inclined to use TikTok. But if you're pushing the right content across the right channels, you'll be able to connect more effectively with various segments of your guests and bring them into your establishment. Drive raving fans, all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the ways that I've seen some of our customers and other customers do it out there is in the form of like LTOs and item
hmm
drops. So one of the restaurants we went to, Justin, when we were in Dallas for the conference, was Hop Dottie, and they do
Love it.
burgers of the month. Every month they have a different burger. And sometimes customers are like, hey, we want this to be on the regular menu because it's so good and it's so tasty. But those are great ways to get your customers to keep coming back, keep trying something. And if you can build really good content around it, especially on TikTok and Instagram, as you're scrolling through it, you're like, oh, it's not just the regular burger, but there's this new item that's just in February that I'd want to try out. So then that actually serves as a way to drive it back to your restaurants again. And I've also seen it where some franchisees and some locations do their own specific items as well, so that they can kind of launch something locally for their cities and their customer base, if that something is trending there too.
hmm Yeah, that Hop Dotties. First off, incredible food. I had not heard of them because I'm up in Charlotte, and they're typically, for those who are listening, down in Texas, right? They've got like 40
Texas,
plus
California.
locations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, they had these sweet potato fries that were like, what did they had? They were like hot. They were hot honey on them.
And there's one like garlic, Parmesan garlic was the other one.
Oh, and
Yeah.
they come in these huge bowls, and I'm like, dude, I could eat all of these fries. It was bad, man. And the smash burger was incredible. I came home and I told my wife all about it. I'm like, we need to, if we're ever like in those areas,
one in Charlotte. We need one all over.
oh, we need it, man. But they do a really good job. You called out how they do the item drops. Like they constantly try different, things in the menu, different LTOs to try to drive some excitement, some engagement, to keep people like coming back. And they have it as part of their brand. They have this kind of like monthly, menu item that, if you're a fan of Hop Dotties, you're going to go there for this month. You're going to be able to get this one thing. And if you really love it, you're going to go a few more times that month than you typically might. So it's a great way to increase your frequency and keep those guests coming back more and more often than they typically would.
Yeah, definitely. And then Hoptoddy actually uses some of our survey products. So for anytime they launch these new items or they're trying to go through it, they actually look through the data and they see which ones are getting really good ratings, which ones could be improved, which ones like orders are actually picking up much faster. So all of that essentially ends up becoming a science for you to realize, hey, if there's something that's trending much
Yeah.
better than the other items, maybe this makes sense to bring it back more often or add it to the regular menu, and you can keep going from there as well.
It's a super cool case study on those guys. What about are there any other clients that you want to highlight some cool things that they might be doing really, really well from a local marketing standpoint?
Yeah, I think one of the other experiments that we did a year and a half ago was with Baskin Robbins, where we actually did a few local marketing for them, where we helped them drive traffic specifically using Facebook to their
Mm,
locations itself, right? Like, so when you look at Facebook ads and you're trying to grow your dine-in or in-store sales, it's hard to know if the person that's viewed the ad or clicked on the ad actually ended up showing up at the restaurant and actually came and came through.
hmm
So we have this capability where we can add offers directly to the ads. So when you run these ads, you can actually see if that customer who saw the ad actually came in and purchased it. So that gives you a full ROI analysis of your marketing spend and then where you want to do it. So they were able to actually use it not only for this broad campaign, but in the future, if they're seeing that there's not as much revenue or sales coming from some of their locations, they could just run these Facebook ads
hmm
specifically at those locations to drive those campaigns as well. So we're starting to see more experiments and testing out at a local level because we're in the local business, right? So instead of running national or like um, full state level campaigns, you ideally want to run everything from email, SMS, Facebook marketing campaigns at a local level to either help grow revenue or solve a problem that's happening there. And I think the tools and then creating the content for that specifically is something that more and more
hmm
restaurateurs and more businesses want to experiment with. And I think what we're trying to do is just simplify that. So you're not spending all your time trying to just craft the ad or the campaign and make it structurally work, but you can be as creative as you want. And then we can just provide the tools to make it simple to do that.
Yeah, it's very cool product. Yeah, if you think at the local level, it's like you have the content's going to resonate differently in certain areas than others, and it opens the door for you to actually do things like highlight like local heroes, hometown heroes, high school quarterbacks or different team captains or whatever it might be, to leverage them as local influencers and
Yeah,
and create different content to try to engage with the community at a deeper level than you otherwise would be able to if you're just doing everything from like a corporate level.
definitely.
Um, you mentioned too, with regard to ads and ad spend, oftentimes when you're spending, like running national ads, you just, the platforms are designed to take your money, right? So if you have like a Google, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it might be, like they want to spend money as quickly as possible, basically, so that they can get the percentage that they're due from each dollar spent. So they typically will spend those dollars in high metro areas, like high population areas, New York, Chicago, LA, places like that. And the locations that actually need the marketing are not getting the love that they need, which is that's kind of where we can kind of help, do local marketing at a scale, from a vocalized standpoint, not to name drop too much, but with a shameless plug, but there is one right there. But local marketing, it's where you're going to get the most from your dollars spent, especially if you have a system where you're, requiring your Z's to, give a certain percent of revenue to the marketing budget. If that money is getting taken and spent nationally, then typically they're not getting the love that they need from those dollars. And it's really hard for a franchisee or a GM to swallow.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And like the way I kind of think about the solutions is like Momos, at least the solutions we're building for SMS and email is again for your existing customers that you're trying to retain
hmm
engaging. And I think where
hmm
Evocalize comes in is with Facebook and Instagram is like how do you build and acquire new customers and how do you put them into the funnel to become your regular customers and grow locally as well. So
hmm
definitely like different strategies and different skill sets needed to do each of those specifically.
Yeah, very cool. Have you guys ever tried something that just didn't work well? Like maybe you had a failure that you failed forward and learned from?
I mean, we have those all the time. I think for us, like the motto at Momos is we like to try a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
I think for us, one area that we tried building out very early on was trying to like bring in full Facebook, Instagram, Google
Yeah.
ads into Momos on top of everything else that we're doing. And as you guys know from Evocalize, that is a
Mhm.
monster, right? It is
It's a
massive
monster.
to be able to do that. And what we realized was we wanted to go deeper into kind of the customer data lens of it, start with email, start with SMS, and then partner with platforms like yourself to provide that as opposed to kind of doing it all on your own. But it took us like a year to realize that, right? But
Yeah.
so that was one of the learnings that where maybe it didn't work out initially and didn't fit with what we wanted to do. But there's been a lot of other areas where it has worked out even after that bet. So for us, like
Mhm.
just culturally being a product company, we try to make these bets, especially if it's coming directly from the restaurant. And sometimes it doesn't work. But as when it does, then we like really scale it and help
Yeah.
build it from there.
No, it makes total sense. If you could give advice to those who are listening who are trying to drive growth at a local level, what would be one thing that you'd encourage them to do today or maybe this week to help them get things moving in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us at Momos, I mean, our expertise right now is with local SEO and kind of making your reputation and making sure that you're solving for that experience first and foremost. So I would say really hone in on and listening to what your customers are saying across all these channels. As
Mhm.
much as possible, make it easier to collect more data points. So it's not just limited to the one-off Google review or Yelp review that you're getting. Try to figure out a way to
Mhm.
get more and more of your customers to leave feedback, and as they're leaving that feedback, understand at the local level what are areas that you can work through and fix and improve on and see if those ratings go up. So, just at a very simple level, that in itself can start driving much more organic visibility on these platforms. And then once that's there, I think kind of going into Facebook and running other ads and marketing campaigns can happen once you have the operational excellence that the customers are looking to see.
Yeah. Perfect. No, great answer. Great answer. All right, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. So when we met, we were last we met up was at FS Tech, like we just talked about a little bit ago. Uh, and we did an event. You and I did an event together with a couple of other folks over. It was sponsored by Toast and Lunchbox. They had a
Yeah.
pickleball event,
Yep.
and you got on the bus and you said to me, "What?"
I think I said something about let's play some pickleball. I don't know if
No,
I
you
said
didn't.
something different. Did I say something different?
You said to me, "Do you pickle?" And I was like, is that apparently I don't, because it's for those who are listening. I played pickleball for the first time at this event, and I didn't even realize that pickle, like to pickle, would be a verb, right? Unless I was like canning like fruits or vegetables or something. So what I didn't realize is that Sai would go on to actually win the entire championship, right? Because you are that good.
I don't think I'm that good. I think I've just got lucky that day. Great partner. And yeah, it was fun, but like I did not think you'd bring up the pickle comment on this podcast, but great.
Well, not only am I going to bring up the pickle comment, I wanted to show you what AI would see you as.
Wow.
The
Oh my
pickleball
God.
king,
This is
full
great.
pickle. Yeah. Sai's gone full pickle here. All right.
Oh
So
my
now we
God. Team's
know,
gonna
now we
love
know that
this.
that is for those of you who are not avid pickleballers or in the pickleball community, to pickle is a thing that one can do.
Exactly.
Well,
Listen, I
hey,
didn't know we were using AI memes on this podcast. I would have come ready for something else next time on the next one then.
the whole point of this is for you not to know, so I can blindside you with you in a
Big
giant pickle
sniper.
costume. Um, well, hey, before we jump off, because it's time to wrap up, how should folks follow or get a hold of Momos or follow you on social?
Yeah, so we're on LinkedIn. I'm starting to post more regularly on LinkedIn, and then Momo's our account also post directly on LinkedIn. So I think that's the best spot, and then our website's up to date with everything else too.
Very cool. If you're listening and you're thinking about different solutions to help you manage various operational functions within your org, I highly suggest check out Momos. They've got some really cool stuff. We only scratched the surface in this conversation, but the nice thing about it is kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of the different things that you need when you're running one location or many locations. So check them out. Subscribe to Sai. He does have some pretty good content on LinkedIn. They've got some fun news that's constantly happening over at Momos, some great customers of theirs. So check them out. Sai, thanks a ton for joining us in the lab.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me today, Justin. Appreciate it.
You bet. As always, thanks for joining us in the Local Marketing Lab. This podcast is brought to you by Evocalize. To learn how Evocalize can help you grow your business, visit evocalize.com. If you learned something new from today's episode, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at Evocalize. That's EVOCALIZE. And on X at Evocalize Inc. And remember, keep innovating and trying new things. You never know what's going to connect with your audience until you try. And until next time, thanks for listening.